Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. This past weekend was really amazing when it comes to boxing. What we saw in Shakur Stevenson, and also Valdez, but in Shakur Stevenson, what we saw is a greatest of all time type performance. And I think this is just giving us a peek at what's to come. Shakur Stevenson, there's a reason why he won that silver medal. Most say he should have won gold at the Olympics. But you see, when they have young talents like this, and you can fast track them. But you fast track them intelligently. I did a video recently talking about Francisco Bajado. Amazing talent. They pushed him too fast. And his career was short-lived. Reed, you guys remember the guy Reed? I think he was from Philly. Amazing talent coming out the Olympics, gold medalist. Moved him too fast, put him in there with a beast like Trinidad. Reed just never recovered. And when you look at, and Fernando Vargas is another one. He did phenomenal, but he didn't go over 30 fights because he wasn't taking care of his body, but they fast tracked him, and they put him in there with killers like Felix Trinidad De La Hoya. But with Shakur Stevenson, the difference with him is, right, he doesn't get hit. Now, true, Valdez landed more shots last night on Stevenson than Stevenson's ever been hit before. But it has to do with Stevenson electing to stay in the pocket and show that he's a better fighter on the inside. And Stevenson is just an intelligent fighter. And there's not often when you see a boxer choose to stand in there and engage on the inside and fight the opponent's fight and outwill the opponent at his own game. Mayweather is great for doing that. No matter how you want to fight, Mayweather could fight your fight and he would win. And in every exchange and every moment of the fight. And it's just frustrating for an opponent when you just can't beat the man at your own game and you're getting countered and bludgeoned and guys are coming in on angles. It's frustrating. You could see that in Valdez's face last night. Every time he slammed his gloves together, come on. He was trying to hype himself up because he's a warrior. But he just ended with a better fighter. Coming up, man, myself, friends, guys in the neighborhood, you always have a few of us who have a chip on our shoulder. And you'd always hear someone say, hey, there's always somebody who's a little badder than you are. And when you're young, as a man, as a male, you're supposed to feel you're the most handsome. You can whip everybody's butt. That your confidence should be through the roof. Your esteem should be through the roof. But you always heard, hey, you should be careful who you mess with because there's always someone better than you. And when you think about Shakur Stevenson, right, he's the kid you would have seen walking with that weird smile that he has with all those 1,050 squingies in his face and 2,000 dimples in his face, right? Looking like Huggy Wuggy, that you would look and almost think, who's this clown? Right? And then you find out you picked the wrong fight because the clown is a killer. It's a killer clown. Huggy Wuggy, the killer clown. That's what Stevenson is. And I just think with Stevenson going forward, he's just that kid, that guy who's a little bit better than everybody else. And just to put it out there, right? People hear me talk about all different fighters. My two favorite fighters were Zab Judah and Chris Bird. Okay? Simple. And the reason why is because I learned a lot from them fighting in the southpaw stance. So I'm not biased to any one fighter. But if I was to do a video on Chris Bird and Zab Judah, you would tell that I was biased. But when it comes to Stevenson, I just like boxing. That man, it's not because I'm biased to him. He is just an amazing fighter. And Valdez is going to come back and he's going to win a belt again. He's going to win the championship. Valdez is a beast, man. But whatever Canelo was showing him, Whatever Eddie Reynoso was showing him, it wasn't enough. You know why? Because Canelo's Canelo. No matter, it doesn't matter. Like, let's talk about basketball. Larry Bird shooting 3-pointers. It doesn't matter who he gets, or take Steph Curry right now. It doesn't matter who he gets underneath his wing and he works with. Will their 3-point percentage get better? Yes, it will. Will they ever shoot like Bird or like Steph Curry? Probably not. Okay? The same thing here with Valdez. He probably learned a few things, was able to institute that in the fight. That's why he landed a bit more shots on Stevenson than what other opponents were able to do. But he's not Canelo. Okay, so that's that. But going forward, Shakur Stevenson, I was saying Shakur Stevenson is Mayweather and Crawford combined. But somebody else said this in a chat group, so I can't claim this for my own. And I think the analogy is much better than what I said. It says Shakur Stevenson is Pretty Boy and Money Mayweather combined. And I was like, you know what? I think that hits home a little better than saying Crawford and Mayweather. That's right. He's a young Floyd Mayweather versus the seasoned Floyd Mayweather combined. Intelligence, viciousness, and he has some power. He's getting his man strength now. He's getting his man strength. And he's only going to get better. People, he's young. What's it, man, 23 years old? He's only going to get better. And he's doing this now. And I'll tell you what, there's a reason why people don't just run in on you. It's like with Floyd Mayweather. People talk about, he has a soft puncher. He can't hit hard. He has pillows for fists. Those are the clowns that came on after like Floyd's 23rd, 24th fight. Anybody watch those first 20 fights with Floyd Mayweather, see, the man was a killer. And he can crack. And all his opponents say that after, like, nah, he's got some pop. But what they're saying is that MFA hits hard. And that's why they don't just walk in on him. Nobody, you ever notice, no one ever tried to walk in and walk Floyd Mayweather down because he kept him honest. And when he let his hands go, what happened? Most of the time, he hurt guys badly. When he was younger and vicious, he was knocking guys out. But, as he got older, the issue with his hands. So when it comes to Shakur Stevenson, I think, is going to take things to a whole nother level because his IQ is crazy. Crazy. His reflexes are like cats. Like, cat-like reflexes. And that's just something that you can train, you can develop that, but not to that level. A lot of that is just how he was born. Certain quickness, those fast twitch fibers in your body. A lot of that is just how you're born and just what you are. Not everybody can train to develop that. You can't just train to develop that. You can improve on things, but you can't get to that level. A lot of that is just God-gifted, and that's why he's a God-gifted talent, boxer, and he's going to just continue to bless us with great fights and dominate boxing, in my opinion. Transitioning on to Katie Taylor and Serrano, I can't say anything negative about either one of them. I joke a lot about who I think won the fight. I do think Serrano won. I go with the puncher, but you just got to look at. I think the problem that I had watching the fight is I'm looking more at the body language, and Katie Taylor's body language was like, "Take me home to Ireland right now." The fighting look of the Irish is about all I have going into this last round, because if this girl hits me again, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and that's kind of how it played out. But the cleaner punches, that's what they say, clean, effective shots. Katie Taylor punches look cleaner. They look, and when I say more effective, I don't mean they did more damage, but they just stood out when she did let her hands go. When she was able to step to the side, rattle off a combination, almost a shoe shine kind of, and then move and box and avoid Serrano. But the thing is, when Serrano was coming forward, she was slower. She's not slow, but she's slower than Katie Taylor. But that straight left hand, right hook, it was highly effective. But if she could have tightened it up some of her shots were kind of looping, kind of wide. And I think when judges are watching that, and then you see Katie Taylor is super crisp, super short, pinpointed, accurate shots. I think they tend to watch that and give more credit to the fighter with the cleaner shots. But as far as who took the serious damage in that fight, It was Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor got beat. She got beat down, but she's tough. She should have. It's twice in that fight. I thought they should. I was like, man, they're gonna stop it, but they didn't. And then in that last round, they were banging. Katie Taylor was winning the exchanges, but you could see. Well, let me say that she wasn't. She was landing more shots because she had the quicker hands. But the more effective shots would be, the harder shots would be landed by Serrano. Because about 14 to 15 seconds in that last round, Taylor's knees buckled and her knee almost hit the ground. And if her knee would have hit that ground, we had a 10-8 round. I can't remember what, I know one of the judges scored it for Serrano. I think one other was 96-94, 97-93. Then we would have had a 96, it would have been a 90, it would have been 96-96. We would have had a draw. If I'm not calculating that right, somebody leave it in the comments below. But if Serrano would have got that knockdown, because Katie Taylor's knee almost touched the canvas, I think we would have had a draw. And then there would have been the screaming controversy, because how the hell could she have, deserved a 10-8 round in round 5 and then knock it down in the last round? That would have been 2 10-8 rounds. And one judge did give it a 10-8 for Serrano in that round 5. They did score it a 10-8. But if all 3 judges would have done the right thing, maybe we'd have seen something different. So both of these women are amazing, and I think they do need to fight again in Ireland, and we'll see what happens. And I think if Serrano goes to Ireland, I think the Irish people are going to embrace her. They're still going to be for Katie Taylor, but when you see anybody fight like that, it's not even the women. When you see anybody fight like that, you have to give them their respect. And that was just amazing. And the thing about this, I'm going to do a video on it, but I'll touch on it right now. Matter of fact, I'll just talk about it right now, right? Because I'm about to go fishing. 2-minute rounds in women's boxing. Okay? What are we doing? Okay, so if they go to 2-minute rounds, yes, you'll see more knockouts. But then again, you don't get the excitement and the action and what we're starting to appreciate about the women boxing. You see, that's one of the main discernments between the males and the females are those 2-minute rounds. The women can go in there and they let their hands fly nonstop, because remember, they train 3-minute rounds, some 4-minute rounds in sparring. So that's why they come in and they just go all out, and that brings the excitement, and that gives them a competitive advantage with the men. Well, we go see the men, and after 4 rounds, sometimes they get tired and they're just dragging their butts around the ring. With the women, they're nonstop, all 6, 8, 10 rounds or whatever. So I think by them shortening, by staying at 2 minutes, you'll see more excitement. By going to 3-minute rounds, you'll see more knockouts, but at a certain point, it may be a bit more lulls in the fight. So I think it's good, depending on the level of the fight, to go to 3-minute rounds. But for some of those up-and-comers, still keep it around 2 minutes. But like a Taylor, a Shields, a Serrano, Francis Cruz Dezern, or whatever the hell her name is, they should be definitely fighting at 3-minute rounds. But some of those other ones who are coming up, no, I don't think it's. I don't. Personally, if you're gonna say the women should be treated equally and get paid equally, then fight 3-minute rounds. But at the same time, let's be smart about going to the 3-minute rounds versus keeping it at 2, to kind of gradually incorporate that into boxing, especially for the women. You can't just come and have a knee-jerk reaction and say not everybody fights 3-minute rounds when you're trying to get more attention on women's boxing, and women's boxing has this momentum, and then you just knee-jerk, boom, we're going to do it. Everyone starts at 3. Now all eyes are on the fights, expecting the excitement, and they get dead spaces, you know what I mean? And that where I think people can be like, oh, it ain't all that. So I think keeping that 2 minutes would probably help women's boxing, and especially keep the excitement up, the thrill, and what people got used to, what they saw yesterday. Because that's not even because it was women's boxing. That was amazing. I've never seen anything like that. Like, let me tell you, man, if you didn't see that fight, you need to go watch it. Like, crazy to see the way they fought. That fight was crazy, man. And I know that when I say use a word like crazy, it's so limited. It's better adjectives that I could come up with to describe that fight, but that's just what my 5-year-old keeps saying. It's crazy, it's crazy. And that's what it was. It was crazy. These ladies are definitely trendsetters, and we're looking forward to what they're going to do later this year. But Katie Taylor needs to take time and heal up because she got banged up. And Serrano ended up with a cut, but heads were clashing, typical southpaw versus the orthodox fighter. But very good fight, amazing, mind-blowing, beyond comprehension. They deserve more than a round of applause, and we'll see what they're paid, what they're going to get paid next fight. Jake Paul's looking to get it to 8 figures for Serrano. Don't know if this is the fight to do it, but Jake Paul is a good guy, man. And Hearn is all right, but Hearn's all about his money. He's about his fighters, but he's about himself too. Jake Paul is young. He's different. He's got real dough, multiple streams of income, and he really is out there trying to really get his people on his roster paid. I did a video about this. Everyone should get on the MVP bandwagon, strike while the iron's hot, because this man does not care about himself, about putting money in his pocket, because he's set for the rest of his life and generations to come, and he's 20-something years old. You imagine the position Jake Paul's going to be in if he keeps being smart by the time he's 40. So this man's definitely on his way to being a billionaire, and he's definitely looking to make anyone around him millionaires and make them quite comfortable and change their next generation. So just real interesting to see what's going to happen in the years to come. I think Eddie Hearn's a little bit of a hater on Jake Paul, but that's a whole nother video. That being said, great night of boxing. Nico Ali Wash, that may have been knockout of the year too. Outstanding, man, and just some of the other fights on the cards, great. But I don't got time to go into all that. I just want to cover these big ones. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. But Shakur Stevenson, he stole the show skill-wise, in my opinion. But as far as heart, it's Katie Taylor and Serrano, man. Amazing. But anyway, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I appreciate the support. Anyone subscribing means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. Shout out to all the veterans. I'm going fishing, and I'm in the breeze.